Troy Aikman joins us now. The divisional playoff games, underway tomorrow and Sunday. Troy, welcome. How are you?
Good. Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon. What was your thoughts about last week's game?
Well, it was a great game. It was, we used to say in years past that when you came up short, you didn't lose, you just ran out of time. And, but that really seems to be true, more and more in this league. We see it during the regular season. We saw it in the Philadelphia-New Orleans playoff game the night before, and then our game, with 5 minutes to play, and San Francisco is able to go down the field and take the time off the clock and win the game. And you feel that at any point, okay, they got a punt, then Green Bay is going to go make the play. So you hate seeing anyone lose in those types of games, but the 49ers, they did what they had to do.
Yeah, I thought Green Bay's defense actually played well.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought, and Kaepernick's legs, and clearly the play you illustrated very well. The defender took a bad route. He went inside, and it cost him containment. And really, if he goes up the middle there, he's not going to get a first down. So it's going to be an interesting play,
Yeah, and that's the thing that you have to then do is, these offenses are so prolific, and you have to make a play. And Micah Hyde had an opportunity earlier on an interception. Was not an easy catch, but, one that he could have made. And then, of course, the 3rd and 8 that you talk about when Kaepernick, and he makes a play because he's that type of quarterback. Some other guys wouldn't be able to make it, but it kept the drive alive. And then, of course, they go on and win the football game.
Now, the Saints ran it last week. Probably surprisingly well, but that's the Eagles. This is Seattle. Going to be interesting to see because, to me, if they're going to win this game, they're going to run the ball at least fairly consistently against Seattle. If they get themselves in a lot of 3rd and longs, they're going to get sacks and mistakes and picks and everything else.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's the question of this game. Can the Saints, who ran it well against the Eagles, can they run it against the Seahawks?
Well, I think early in this game, Mike, I think the key is they have to have rushing attempts. I think it's going to be hard for them to run the football against them, but we saw that last week from the Saints against Philadelphia, and there are some coordinators in this league that are very reluctant to call runs. They want to get into the passing offenses, and Sean is a very prolific coordinator as far as the passing game is concerned, but he also believes strongly in the run game. And I think in order for the Saints to have a chance to win this game, they've got to get the game into the 4th quarter. Like you talked about, that game was over the last time they played, really after the first quarter. And so even if they don't run the ball effectively, that's okay, but if you're dropping back and you're trying to throw the ball with that defense and that crowd noise and those pass rushers and everything gets compounded, the offensive linemen, they're not coming off, they're not blocking, Breeze is getting hit, balls in the air, interceptions, whatever it may be, and then you're giving up short field and giving up quick scores, you don't have a chance. And so even if they're not running the ball effectively early, it's okay to punt, and we know what the Seattle Seahawks are going to want to do. They want to run the ball, and if Rob Ryan can have that defense not give up big plays, then it's hard for any team it's hard for any team then to establish this huge lead that's insurmountable. And you shorten the game, you keep the game close, and if the Saints can get into the 4th quarter with a chance to win, that's the best that they can hope for, in my opinion. Looking at it as before we go into that ball game, and not that they necessarily then win that game, but Breeze in the 4th quarter with the game on the line, you feel good about that.
No, I agree. I think if you, with the exception of San Francisco, if you're any of these other 3 teams, all you can hope for, and it's always the same prescription in the NFL, you can't go in the other guy's building and get knocked out in the first quarter. Because in the first quarter is when the home team can deliver the knockout blow. And the road team very rarely delivers the knockout blow unless they get 2 or 3 turnovers. But you can get yourself behind deep and the game's over, get the game fractured. You want to get that game deep, especially with some of these road quarterbacks that you have in these games, no question. And I agree with that. And the question is, will the Saints be willing to punt? There's such a aggressive passing team where they like to take chances. Even on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, they're going to try and make plays. That's dangerous against the Seattle team.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, because they're able to get after the quarterback.
And they're ball hawks.
Yeah, I mean, they do a great job. They're very physical on the outside. They really kind of believe that, okay, well, how many times is the official going to make the call? And they're not going to call, defensive holding every single snap. So they do get away with some things that a lot of other defenses don't, and primarily because they don't play that style consistently. Richard Sherman's he's terrific, and having played in games on the road in hostile environments against teams that can get after the quarterback, early in games the pass rush seems like it's going 100 miles an hour. I mean, because those guys are cranked up, the crowd's into it, and you have to weather that first storm. You have to hang in there. And eventually, they're going to tire out. The game's going to slow down, and it just kind of goes back to the point that you've made, in that hang in there. Tell the guys, all right, look, just don't make the big mistakes. Punting's okay. Defense will hold up well enough, and then we're in this ball game. But you can't get in there and start letting the crowd noise dictate, how things are going, because what happens when you're playing on the road, every incompletion, everything that happens is magnified, and it makes you feel like, wow, we are really stinking this place up. We're doing terrible, and it's not that bad. You wouldn't have those feelings if you were playing at home, and that's the thing that you've got to, realize. And I think the experience that they had when they were there a few weeks back, it'll be good for them. That was a great environment. It was very similar to what they're going to see tomorrow night, and I think that it prepares them at least so they all have an idea as to what to expect.